All right, so what if I told you that getting into real estate investing has nothing to do with saving up a giant down payment? Or, getting tangled up in all that complex legal stuff? What if it's literally as easy as forwarding an email? Well, today we're going to break down this kind of wild strategy called bird dogging. It completely flips the script on what you think it takes to get started. Let's get right into it. So to really get your head around how simple this is, think about it like basketball, right? Most people think real estate means you've got to hit this flashy half-court three-point shot to even score. But this strategy, it's not even a layup. And, a layup still takes a little bit of skill. No. This is like imagine lifting a little kid up to the hoop and just letting them drop the ball in. That's it. In the world of real estate, that means you're not the one taking the shot. You're just making that final, super easy connection that lets somebody else score. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. A concept this simple. It immediately sets off alarm bells, right? That sounds way too good to be true. Gotta be a scam. And look, that skepticism is totally understandable. I get it. Our brains are kind of hardwired to think that big rewards have to come from big risks and a ton of effort. But what if that's just not always the case? Let's break down exactly why this super simple path gets overlooked so often. So here's the thing. A lot of people who want to get into investing, they're immediately drawn to that half-court shot. They see stuff on TV and they're like, I want to flip a luxury mansion, or I'm going to syndicate a 100-unit apartment building with zero money down. They're trying to pull off the most complicated plays in the whole game before they've even figured out how to dribble the ball. And because everyone's so focused on all that complexity, the easiest, most reliable plays, they just get completely ignored. All right, let's get real for a second. Just you and me. What's that little voice in your head telling you? The reason you haven't actually started in real estate yet. Seriously, think about it for a sec, because I'm willing to bet that whatever you just came up with, it's gonna fall into one of these very, very common excuses. So do any of these sound familiar? I have no money. That's the big one, right? Or I have no time. With work, family, everything else. Then there's the fear of the paperwork, all the complicated contracts, or that feeling in your stomach when you think about having to talk to sellers, negotiating, ugh. And of course, the big one. I just don't have any experience. These are like the 5 big walls that keep so many people stuck on the sidelines. But here's the absolute best part. This bird dog strategy, it's designed to just completely demolish every single one of those walls. Think about it. No money? Not a problem, because you're not actually buying the property. You don't need any capital. No time? You're not managing a renovation. You're sending a couple of texts. Don't know the paperwork? Who cares? You're not the one drafting contracts. Scared of talking to sellers? Guess what? You never have to speak to a single one. In experience, your entire job is to be a connector, not some seasoned expert. Okay, to really get how this works, let's use an analogy that pretty much all of us use every day. Think of this whole thing less like building a restaurant from the ground up and more like being the Instacart shopper. See, there are 3 main players in this game, and the best part is, you get to pick the absolute easiest role. First up, you've got the wholesaler. Think of these guys like Walmart or maybe a big warehouse. They're the ones spending all the time and money on marketing to find these discounted off-market properties. They talk to the sellers, they do the negotiating, they handle all the legal stuff to get a house under contract for a great price. Basically, they find and stock the product. Okay, next up is the buyer. This is your professional house flipper, right? Or a busy landlord. These folks, they've got the money, they've got the construction crews, they've got projects going all over town. They are so busy managing the actual renovations and the money that their biggest problem, their biggest bottleneck is just finding the next good deal. They desperately need new inventory, but they have zero time to go out and hunt for it. And right there, in that perfect little gap between those two, that's where you, the bird dog, come in. Your Instacart. You don't own the grocery store, right? And you're not at home cooking the meal for the customer. You are simply the delivery service, but for information. You connect that super busy buyer with the awesome deals that the wholesaler has already found. You're just a pure and simple information broker. Just look at this comparison for a second. It's kind of crazy when you see it laid out like this. On one side, you have the wholesaler's job. That's all the heavy lifting, right? Finding the seller, negotiating, doing all the paperwork. Then look at the bird dog's job. Find a buyer, and then literally copy and paste the deal info. It's not about hard labor, it's all about leverage. You're just connecting 2 dots. All right, so that's the theory behind it. That's how all the pieces fit together. But what does it actually look like? What's the real world playbook? Let's get into the step-by-step of how this copy and paste thing actually works. Okay, it really just boils down to these 4 simple steps. Step 1, find a buyer. Seriously, go to a local real estate meetup or just search Facebook for cash buyers in your city. Ask them one simple question: what's your buy box? Which is just fancy talk for what kind of houses are you looking to buy? Step 2, find a wholesaler. You can use the exact same methods. Get on their email list. Step 3, this is the magic part: copy and paste. When that wholesaler sends out a deal, you look at it. If it matches what your buyer wants, you literally just forward the email or text the info. That's it. And finally, step 4, connect and collect. If your buyer replies, yes, I want that one, you just introduce them to the wholesaler, sign a one-page finder's fee agreement, and your work is done. So yeah, that playbook sounds almost too simple, right? But the real question is, does this actually work in the real world? Can you really make serious money just connecting two people? Well, let me tell you about Kelly. So Kelly was already kind of in the real estate world. She was a transaction coordinator, and she was watching these massive checks fly around her all day long. But she was stuck earning a fixed salary. She wanted a piece of that action, you know? But she didn't want the risk of actually buying a house herself. She was basically the perfect person to try this out. And her story, it happened so fast, it's kind of mind-blowing. On day 1, she literally just learned the strategy and signed up for a few wholesalers' email lists. Then, over the next 2 days, as deals started hitting her inbox, she would just text the address over to her one buyer. First one, nope. Second one, nope. Sent 7 deals, all no. But that 8th property she sent over, that one was a yes. And for that one single yes, for sending 8 text messages, Kelly got a check for $10,000 as a finder's fee. Just let that sink in for a moment. What would an extra 10 grand earned over 2 days just by sending texts mean for you right now? And you know what her first reaction was when she heard about this strategy? The exact same thing you were probably thinking 20 minutes ago. She said, there's no way it's that easy. She had the exact same skepticism. But, well, her own bank account proved that initial feeling totally wrong. But the story doesn't even stop there, because success like this is contagious. Kelly ended up sharing her story at a live training event. And sitting in that audience was another woman named Dyer. And she was listening and feeling that same thing, that mix of no way and, well, maybe. Hearing Kelly's real story from a real person was the little spark she needed to just go for it. And this right here, this just shows you how repeatable the whole thing is. It's not a fluke. Look at this. Kelly, on the left, it took her sending 8 properties to get her deal. Jeer, who was inspired by Kelly, did it in just 6. We're not talking about sending hundreds of emails and facing tons of rejection. We're talking about a handful of simple, focused actions. So let's wrap this all up. This strategy works because it just gets rid of the biggest things that stop people. No money needed, no risk, no deep experience required. It is purely about connecting people. And it leaves us with this one last thought, right? So many of us in our careers and our lives were conditioned to chase that complicated half-court shot. We think that's the only way to win, and in the process, we don't even see the easy layup that's right there waiting for us. So maybe the biggest opportunities aren't the most complex ones. Maybe there's the simple ones that we're finally willing to just take seriously.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hope you enjoyed the content. Want to learn more real estate strategies like this and more? Link is in the description. Join our community today. Connect with other new investors and learn from experienced real estate industry leaders. Pause to copy the link on screen.